Hey, what's up, folks? This is Tony from Christianity Now. Today's video is going to be talking about an absolute evil in this world, and I just wanted to get on here and I wanted to share this with you. Hopefully I say something that's edifying, and hopefully if you haven't noticed this trend, hopefully I make you aware of it, and you can start right where you are to shine the light of the gospel to a lost and dying world in order to affect change. The subject is this absolute evil, and it's a normalization of child predators. Not children who are predators, but people who victimize children. I remember years ago, whenever in Western culture, and I'm going to speak as a person from the United States of America, years ago, there was a left wing and a right wing of this political bird, and everybody had a common goal. The destination was agreed upon. It was a matter of policy as far as how we got there. And the left and the right played off of each other very, very well. The right was tough and hard and brutal, and the left balanced that with some compassion and softness, quite frankly. And it was really, really good, but it seemed like somewhere around the 2000s that changed. And as I got older and I started looking around, I noticed that there are several lines of demarcation that we deal with as human beings, two of which are the lines of demarcation between the political left and the political right, and the line of demarcation between good and evil. I put forth to you today, as humbly as I can, that the line of demarcation between the left and the right politically and the line of demarcation between good and evil is probably so close that you wouldn't be able to differentiate the two. Why do I say that? Well, it's because of the two videos that we're looking at today. I remember in 2016, it was so easy figuring out who to cast my vote for as a Christian. I'm going to vote for the people that are promising me they're going to try to kill less babies. If you have two groups of people, and one group of people says we're going to kill babies and we're going to enshrine the right to kill babies to women, and we just don't care. We're going to give you abortion on demand, taxpayer funded, all of that good stuff. I'm not voting for that political party. I don't care what it is. And now it's gotten worse to the point where we are in this society normalizing child predators. We are normalizing child molesters, chomos, child molesters, chomos, as they're called. And this person that we're going to hear from is a former convict who served quite a bit of time, and he talks about his experiences. Now, he's not the only one. He's probably just the most vocal, but you can go down the rabbit hole in TikTok and you can find a lot of people who, I mean, they're felons. They can't make a living hardly any other way. So they take to TikTok, they take to YouTube, they take to Facebook, and they leverage their personality and their life experiences against finances, against financial freedom. And that's what this guy's done. And he's pretty charismatic, but listen to the story that he tells and listen to what he's saying. And I'm just going to let this play, and then I'm going to give some commentary, and then we're going to finish up with another video, and a very, very short video, and then we'll look at some scripture and talk about it.
Generally, back then, they weren't giving out hate crimes for beating up chomos. You didn't get caught with a knife. You didn't get caught with street drugs. You didn't hit nobody with a lock and a sock. You weren't going to get an outside charge. Yeah. They've changed a lot of that. Now they're going to hit you with a hate crime for even slapping a chomo in the mouth. The distinction is you beat him up because he's a chomo. They're literally considered a protected class in there.
How crazy is that?
Gay people aren't a protected class. Trans people aren't a protected class. But if your crime is against children, you're a protected class. You have to make it seem like that's not the reason you fought him. If you're going to beat one up in front of a CO, walk up to him and be like, what, did you just call me a and then take flight on him? Yeah. Then you can say,
he punked me out.
I had no choice. He called me a
So we'll leave that queued up. Did you get what he's saying? I almost want to let it marinate. I don't care about the algorithm or the watchability. I almost want to just take a few moments of silence and just be like, listen, just sit with that for a minute, or even play it again. And he's not the only one saying this. All of these TikTokers are coming out of jail and they're saying, look, these pedophiles are a protected class on the inside. You cannot do anything to them. Before, everybody knew, hey, listen, if you got caught on a charge of touching a minor and you went to jail, when you went to prison, if your papers read wrong, you were going to have a particular kind of hell in there, because there would be a vigilante justice. And that's just the way things work. I'm not advocating for vigilante justice. Vengeance is mine. I will repay, saith the Lord. That's Romans chapter 12. But we're just dealing with reality now. And used to, according to all these people that are convicts, the correction officers and stuff like that, they would kind of, out of necessity, let the prison population work itself out with its own hierarchy. You had the gangs and the stuff like that, and they let them self-police a little bit. And I can see why, okay? I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it is what it is, and I can see how that would evolve from this prison system that we have in the United States of America. And you knew, buddy, if you were caught and convicted of a sexual crime against a child, a minor, if that got out while you were in prison, you were a dead man. Actually, you wish you were a dead man, but it would be worse for you if you lived. And now, if somebody smokes a chomo, they're going to catch outside charges, and it's going to be a hate crime, and they're going to get time added to their sentence and stuff like that. Now, I think, this is my conviction, that if you're in prison and you commit violence or you break the law, I think you ought to catch outside charges. Okay? I'm willing to talk about that. I'm willing to have a debate about that. But, and I'm also open to being wrong. I could be wrong. It could be one of the worst things you could do to take a person that's already feels like they've lost everything, and when you go into an environment like that, if somebody steps to you and tries to punk you out, you've got to step back and show that you're not a punk. I get it. It might be very dangerous for some, or they would hesitate to act if they knew that they were going to catch charges, and it would just go a long way to hardening criminals. So maybe I just talked myself out of it, but it doesn't change the fact that as we have gone farther into this current age, child molesters are now a protected class in our prisons. And quite frankly, they're a protected class out in the world as well. You can't, I'm not saying that you can take the law into your own hands, but you certainly can't discriminate against somebody if you find out they're a quote unquote minor attracted person. The LGBTQ agenda, the MAP, minor attracted person, is piggybacking onto that. And I guarantee you the agenda for the minor attracted people is to piggyback on the LGBTQ AI two-spirit plus agenda and be protected under the Civil Rights Act in the United States. Folks, we've got to do something. Now, here's the thing. I'm not going to mention any political parties. But my suggestion this November, when you go vote in the United States of America, think about the candidate you're voting for, and in your mind's eye, sit down with the candidate you're voting for and say, what is your policy on transgendering? What is your policy on the state taking over parental rights, or taking your parental rights away from parents in cases where children claim to be transgender? In fact, what do you think we ought to do if somebody removes the genitalia from a 12-year-old? What do you think should happen to a set of parents if they go to the doctor and they tell the doctor to give my daughter a double mastectomy at age 14? What do you think ought to happen to a teacher at school if my little girl comes to that teacher at school and says, you know, I really feel like a boy? And so, unbeknownst to me as a parent, the guidance counselor, the teacher at school, the staff, the school nurse, they get that precious little girl of mine who happens to be a little bit confused, and they give them puberty blockers, and they start transitioning them from a girl to a boy without my knowledge. Folks, there is one political party in the United States of America, and quite frankly in Canada, that is promising you they are going to enshrine that in law. And if you think that the end result is not going to be the debauchery and hedonism of Greece and Rome in the old days, where everybody had little boys and little girls in a stable where they can just go pick the ones they like, then you're a fool. How can you pull the lever for a political party and help put them in power that promises you they are extolling the virtue of things like what we're about to hear next, like what we just heard from that former convict? Here we go.
Term minor attracted person or MAP in the title.
And this person is being unironic, by the way. I use the term minor attracted person or MAP. Why? Because we don't want to make people who are sexually attracted to children feel bad. We don't want to stigmatize it. Folks, we need to stigmatize it. I think about Jeremiah chapter 6, the prophet talking about the children of Israel. They had lost the ability to blush. They were so brazen in their sin.
And throughout the book for multiple reasons. First of all, because I think it's important to use terminology for groups that members of that group want others to use for them.
Like murderers. Well, let's not call them murderers. You know, the liberal left in the United States of America is doing that with our border. The people coming across the border, we can't call them illegals. We can't, and really and truly, it's a foolish term, illegal immigrants. They're not immigrants. They're criminals. And they're coming into the United States. They're coming into Canada illegally. Call them what they are. They're illegal aliens. They're aliens. They're non-citizens that are illegal. They're criminals. A minor attracted person, we need to call them what they are. They're pedophiles. They have a desire to have sexual relationships with children, and they think that they can wield the arm of the government and leverage your desire to be nice against you and get it mainstream.
And MAP advocacy groups like Before You Act have advocated for use of the term MAP. They've advocated.
Notice MAP advocacy groups. Do we really need an advocacy group for minor attracted persons, for pedophiles?
For it primarily because it's less stigmatizing than other terms like pedophile.
And it needs to be stigmatized.
Well, if it barks, it's a dog. If it quacks, it's a duck. And if you like little kids, you're a pedophile.
I concur, mister. Then said he unto the disciples, it is impossible, but that offenses will come. But woe unto him through whom they come. It were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and he cast into the sea, than that he should offend one of these little ones. Take heed unto yourself if your brother trespasses against you, so on and so forth. My point with this is that it's simple. We have got to start being proactive. We Christians have got to get their head out of the sand. We've got to quit pearl clutching whenever a gospel preacher or an elder or a Bible class teacher or a content creator or whatever tells the masses, look, there are two sides of the political aisle. If you vote for one side, you're voting for pedophiles and rapists and murderers. If you vote for the other side, you're still voting for some pretty nefarious people, but it's at least people who are promising you that they're going to try to staunch or stem that flow. And somebody scoffed at me one time when I said that and said, well, it's just all a uniparty. The higher up you go, that may be right. The higher up you go, that may be right. When it comes to two different parties at the highest office of the land, there might not be that much of a difference between one side and the other. Now, I think that's a foolish notion. I think there's a lot of difference between those two parties, even at the highest office of the land. But local is where it's at. It doesn't matter who the president is. It doesn't matter who Congress is. Think about this. All of those drag shows where they pull little kids up on stage and teach them how to twerk and teach them, put dollar bills in their underwear and stuff like that to little children. You understand that's illegal. And the only reason those people, those perverts aren't in jail is because it's become culturally acceptable, because one side understands culture and the other side, quite frankly, doesn't. And Christians need to understand we do need to involve ourselves in the culture. Why? Because the stakes are too high. I'm going to let you make up your own mind. I would pray, however, that you boil your voting choice down to a binary choice. And this November, pull the lever for a political party that promises to at least try to protect children. That's the only thing I care about. And incidentally, if you look back through recent history, as a Christian, if that's how you would have voted all along, if every person who claims Christendom had have voted all along for the person that's going to be the least amount of harmful to society and children, we would not have the people in political power that we have now, and our nation would be much better off. And it would be much easier to preach the gospel, to preach the word, to be instant in season and out of season, to reprove, rebuke, and exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this passage of scripture. Proverbs chapter 6, starting in verse 16. These 6 things doth the Lord hate. Yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. A proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. A heart that deviseth wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren, hands that shed innocent blood. Don't put your stamp of approval on people that are promising you they are going to codify the right to shed innocent blood and to abuse in the most heinous sexual ways the most vulnerable and defenseless among us. This has been Tony Brewer with Christianity Now. I hope I've said something that has upset you. I hope I have given you pause. I hope I have wrinkled your brain. I hope you subscribe at Substack. I hope you take advantage of the tip jar if you like what we do. And I hope you subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell. Thank you so much, and stay tuned for more videos.